he came to me one day and he said, I've got this great idea. And it was NFTs. And I said, it sounds great, but what's an NFT?
You and everybody else
exactly.
the last 2 years.
I understand how difficult it is to wrap your head around this concept. I think what we're seeing as a trend right now is it's taking people a little bit more time to mint because the space is requiring more of a utility, not just this flash in the pan. Let me take a picture of me on a yacht and here's some cool artwork.
That's a big thing too with like the scams. Like there's a ton of scams with like the Bored Ape. People are like, oh, I got scammed and stuff like that. It's like, well, you didn't really get scammed. You actually just didn't actually buy a Bored Ape because you didn't click the legitimate link. You got to do your research too. So anybody can come along and create a identical Bored Ape NFT or an identical Louis bag NFT. But if it's not tied to Louis Vuitton's actual smart contract address, then that thing's not real.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. We're talking NFTs today. We're talking Web3. We're going down the virtual pipeline with Lisa Loveland and Kosta Hantzis. What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's
Ryan.
going on, Ryan?
Thanks for having us.
Hey, I dialed up the energy there. I was excited for the NFT talk.
I love it.
It's an exciting topic. Crazy topic, but exciting.
It is. It's like, oh, my head explodes, but at the same time, it gets excited.
For sure.
How are we guys doing? Both coming from Boston, I know.
Yes.
No complaints.
Oh, good.
Things have been busy.
I just got back from Florida, and it's definitely not Florida weather here, but I'll take it. I think this weekend's supposed to be like 85 in Boston or something like that. So it's going from 40 to 85 in the span of 5 days. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. We're in South Carolina, and we've had the strangest weather. It's like 85 one day and 65 or, it's all positive. It's warm-ish, but it's been some ups and downs, so I can relate to that. But it's good. I know we're going to get into both co-founders of Lynx Club NFT, which we'll talk in detail about. Maybe we just start down that path. Lisa, I'll start with you. Let's talk professional journeys. I know you've been in real estate. You've done a lot of things. This is a detour of sorts. I know you're venturing out, but maybe let's start with, since we got two of you, we won't do I'm sure we both could do the 30-minute professional journeys for both, but maybe a little bit of that journey and kind of what brought you here today.
It's a great question. I'd love to talk about it. So, yes, I've been in real estate for a long time. I was in corporate America prior to that. And I'll try to make it as condensed as possible because I sometimes have a problem landing that plane. But, I'm fortunate that I have a successful career. So I'm not coming to this with, I wish I had. But I really didn't have mentorship. I learned a lot based on what I wouldn't do. And there was an awful lot of politics, an awful lot of things that just weren't fair. It's a tough, women, whether you believe it or not, it's a tough road out there for us to make it in the business world. So I'm here. I love what I do. Work is not work to me. It's a hobby. And I'm at a place where I want to give back and I want to help people that want to make get to their next level of success personally and professionally. And when I could see how real estate was changing, and it's not really a group. It's just me, but I was missing out on business because I wasn't a group. And so I just kind of changed the way that we branded it. And in doing that, I wanted to bring the creativity in-house. And I met Kosta on a showing, and I was so impressed with him. He was really well put together. We had kind of a complicated deal, and he handled it really well on the other side. And he actually reminded me of myself at his age. And I was like, wow, I hate to see people like that. Their wings get clipped. So after the process, I told him that. And I said, if he ever wanted to get into actually selling, to let me know. So in 2020, of course, at the start of the pandemic, he did reach out, and we came in. He came on board. We rebranded a bit. We did more with video. We started a podcast of our own. And in that mix, one of the ways to kind of get business in real estate is to start your own referral groups of people that are in similar businesses and that are like-minded. And he's very talented in media and photography and all of that stuff. And he's just an entrepreneur at heart. So he and his friends got together and started a mastermind that he can talk about. And as you find out doing that it's hard to stay top of mind. It's hard to get logistically to get everyone together. And we always were thinking of ways to make money. And the ways to make money is you find problems and you solve them. So these are the conversations he and I have all the time. and he came to me one day, and it's awesome. I mean, our age difference is there, but my God, you wouldn't think there was an age difference. It's just I'm grateful for this partnership, and he's so fun to mentor and coach. So he came to me one day and he said, I've got this great idea. And it was the NFTs and doing a masterminds and having an NFT be the way that you get access to it. And I said, it sounds great, but what's an NFT?
You and everybody else
exactly.
The last 2 years.
I understand how difficult it is to wrap your head around this concept. But trust me, to all your viewers who don't understand it, I didn't either. And I am completely obsessed with it right now. Okay. So he did a wonderful job of explaining it to me. And then I became like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we've taken it from there. So with that, I'll let Kosta tell his side of that and how he how he got the idea and because it's his brainchild.
Yeah, right. No, I think you did a great job touching on all the points there. NFT is really, I think the iteration right now we see is just so one-sided because you think about NFTs, everybody's like, oh, Bored Apes and monkeys and all this stuff. I don't really get it too. But at the end of the day, NFT is a technology too. And I'm sure we'll probably go into detail a little bit later about what NFTs actually are. But I think it's important before we even talk about the club and what the NFT does, like to explain what an NFT even is versus for those who don't know, NFT stands for non-fungible token, meaning that you can't exchange it for something else. The classic example is like the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is a non-fungible token. You can't exchange the Mona Lisa for another Mona Lisa. But if you look at a fungible token like USD, if you have $100, you can do $100 a bunch of different ways. It's $100 bills, 520s, whatever it is. Currency is fungible. But what NFTs do is give you that proof of ownership to verify that you actually own something too. So there are a bunch of use cases for NFTs. For ours with the Lynx Club, we're using the NFT as the membership pass to prove that you have admission into Lynx Club. So what Lynx Club is too, I'll touch real brief on like the general scope of Lynx Club, but what we're doing is building a creative collective for artists, entrepreneurs, musicians, filmmakers, overall entrepreneurs from different fields and creators from different fields, because we feel that true collaboration really comes when you bring in those entrepreneurial people and you bring in those creative people. And it's tough to, for example, real estate. There's a lot of real estate networking groups, mastermind groups in real estate too, but there's only so much collaboration real estate agents can do, especially if they're in the same city. It gets very competitive if you know the real estate market and there's low inventory. And those groups are great too, but true collaboration comes when you're maybe a real estate agent's partnering with a person that does video production so they can start shooting content for themselves. If they want to do a podcast, they need to partner with a creator that knows audio production. They need some graphics for social media. They need to get in touch with an artist. So there's so much collaboration to be had, and we really want to kind of have this collaboration within our community, as we're calling it, a digital playground of sorts, where we're fostering this true sense of collaboration through a variety of different events like workshops, private masterminds, speakers, talent spotlights, job boards, a lot of cool stuff that we can get into later.
I love that. So, I'm going to take it another level, like deeper. Is it? I get the NFT portion is it sort of so tokenization to pay your way into the club? Am I understanding that correctly? Like this is an exclusive club of creators where the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Everyone's adding to the collective, but to get in the club, it's the token to get in. Am I understanding
correct.
that?
Correct.
Yeah. So token, think of it as the ticket to membership.
Yep. Ticket to membership.
And
but
the difference is, so it adds value, it creates value, and it's tradable. So if you were to join a masterminds group or a networking group, and there was like a BNI group, for example, and it's X number of dollars a year for the membership. That's it. You never get that money back. It's year after year. With us, when you buy the NFT, and it's less money than it would be to join any one of these other groups, most likely. You can keep that. You can buy multiple. So you can keep, so say you buy 3. You keep 1, so you always have access to the group and the benefits of the group. And then you take your other 2 and you could trade them. You can sell them on OpenSeas. It's like the stock exchange for NFTs, so to say. Yeah. And so you can gain value.
Well, there's scarcity too, as well to that. For the limited collection part of it, like for example, with Lynx Club, we're going to do 5,555, and that is the supply of original Lynx Club NFTs. So if we do a great job with Lynx, and this is repeatable across any other business, if we do a great job, we provide value, the value of your NFT can go up, and now you can sell it. And the reason, like Lisa said, is benefit to owning 3. If you get into NFTs and buying, it's usually great to buy multiple ones so you can keep one and then hopefully make profit off the other ones if the community does a great job too. So it's that scarcity of wanting to be in a group, but there's only a limited amount of spots. So you better mint an NFT. And for those who don't know, minting is just like the public sale, the initial launch. You want to go to the website and mint the NFT and get the pass essentially to the group.
So when we talk about, buying 3, is it buying 3 memberships that you can then sell memberships for people to join the club, or is it just the actual token itself?
It's just the actual token themselves. People like to buy 3 just maybe they like the artwork a lot. There's actually going to be benefits to holding multiple tokens as well. Communities do this in different ways too. One example for us is if you're going to be holding multiple NFTs, you get special access to maybe VIP question sessions when we have speakers, or LynxCon, which you can touch later upon, is our conference. If you own multiple NFTs, there will be certain privileges for those people that own higher shares, essentially, of Lynx Club.
How do you vet? I mean, like BNI groups and networking groups and even masterminds. Some do, some don't. But I think there is some amount of vetting, right? So that you're building the community the way you want with the like-mindedness and getting the types of people in there. What's going to be? I mean, is there going to be a vetting process for that for you guys?
The vetting process is actually in how we market it. It's a tough process to actually vet, just because of the way that Web3 is set up. However, if somebody doesn't really want to be involved in what our utility is offering, they probably wouldn't join the club anyway. So yeah, it's kind of hard to vet. Now we can take that a step further. So let's say, we sell out this project, and where we will vet is into different categories within the community. So you can get to a VIP status for different types of workshops and speakers. And that will have to be via interviews. You'll have to be fully doxxed. For those that don't know, fully doxxed is, we know your name, we see your face. You would have a call, a Zoom meeting, because we're global, and we would actually know who these people were, what their true intentions were, what their goals were. We really want to have a very hands-on approach to this, because we are serious about helping people get to their next level. And we can't do that unless we have individual conversations with people as far as what they need. So that would come as a level 2.
Yep. I think where some of the, I don't know if disengagement's the right word. Maybe it's the rolling of the eyes club with NFTs. I'm a practical person, right?
Yeah, you are.
Like it's like I can make it complicated, or I can just say it like it is. I think with the NFT stuff, like, this makes sense to me because of the mastermind and the group and the bringing like-mindeds together. The Bored Ape stuff, the scarcity, or manufactured scarcity of the art, of the sometimes really bad digital art, is where I think people are getting a little disenfranchised with the whole NFT thing, right? I mean, I call a spade, right? And I know a lot of people made a lot of money, and I'm not knocking it, but the $10,000 here, and just we're throwing around numbers that just aren't sustainable in my mind.
I agree. And I think that you see that with anything that's new, right? It's like the Wild West. It's like the gold rush. And the largest percent, I don't know the numbers, Kosta, you probably know the numbers, but I think it's like, 95% of projects don't work. They fail.
Right.
And even the ones that are out there, we don't have enough market stats. We haven't been around long enough to see who's going to stay around. I mean, when the audience in this space is looking for a project to quote mint in 2 months, I mean, what in what real world is that even possible? So you could do it, but you haven't thought out enough to figure out how you're actually going to add value for the remainder of those years. So I think what we're seeing as a trend right now is it's taking people a little bit more time to mint because the space is requiring more of a utility, not just this flash in the pan. Let me take a picture of me on a yacht and here's some cool artwork. That was great, right? Boom, you had a quick cash grab, but now where are we? And I think that's why we see, we can talk about this later, but everyone's an advisor in this space. Well, but they're not really giving you a solution. And back in real business, if we ever went out with advisory information without a solution to implement, we would never be hired.
Yeah.
So the space is very immature. It's very new, but it's changing. And I think projects like us and some of the people that we're partnering with have a wonderful opportunity to have a direct impact and direction of where this space needs to go. And it's going to, the cream is going to rise quickly because these other projects that aren't providing the utility and a plan and the value are going to be uncovered pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's interesting on the accountability front. I'll tell a very short story, but we had a client come to us and they wanted us to get involved. And as we know, we talked pre-show, there's no playbook for this stuff, really. There's the stuff, set up a Discord, get involved in Twitter, get some influencer. Like there's some stuff that are coming up as established ways to hopefully guarantee, air quotes, success of these things. Some amount of things in the playbook. And the client came to us to do it, and I said, sure, we'll do it. And I mean, I'm as connected as anyone and know what we could attempt to do, but they didn't like the budget that we came back with because I said, well, yeah, I'll be accountable to it. But if you think you can throw $3,000 to $5,000 a month at this thing and it work, no, thank you. It's just not going to happen. And so I think it's interesting to see where that accountability kind of plays out in the people that become, the mainstays in kind of living and breathing this, because you really got to attach yourself to the right people that know how to make this stuff work, right?
That's absolutely true. Because you do have to throw a lot of money at it. And if you aren't doing your homework, you're going to be throwing your money at a lot of things that's all hype and doesn't work. So that's what I mean when I say, going back to kind of the organic, what really works in business, whether it's Web 2, Web 3, or whatever it is, you've got those principles have withstood the test of time for a reason. Marketing, you have to figure out who, you can't just market to at least in our project, we can't just market to, and get, 20,000 people in our Discord and 30,000 people in Twitter. They may not have any interest in the utility that we're offering. So we've had to take a much more granular look at what we're doing, how we're doing it, and who we're targeting.
Yep. Kosta, I'd love your opinion on like Web3 and how all these things interact, and not using your crystal ball, but you guys are so close to some of these technologies and things like that. I'd love to enlighten our audience with your perspective on Web3 and what that means.
Yeah. Web3 is going to take over the entire world. It's just the new iteration of the web where you can really own what you're putting out there in terms of content, music, filmmaking. The classic example is like the record label example in music. For example, I think this summer, especially, music is going to see a lot of technology and a lot of innovation around NFTs, where an artist could go to their fan base and say, hey, I'm going to release 5,000 NFTs that have a certain percentage of revenue from my new album. Like they're like, hey, I want to do this album, 5,000 NFTs for this album. And 1% or however many percentage of revenue splits they actually give back to those people that own the NFTs. And then they could say, hey, if you own one of our NFTs, you actually get a Zoom call with me once a month, whatever it is. You get access to my Discord. You get access to sneak peeks of music. So before I drop a song, like you actually get to see a little preview or snippet, some behind the scenes stuff. You can keep adding value. And that's the beauty of NFTs. And then those NFTs after can get traded. So if somebody's like, you know what, I don't want this musician's NFT. I'm not really too into his music anymore. Then you could trade it to somebody else, and whatever society deems that NFT is has value, just like art, society is deeming whatever it is the value. There's no like, hey, this is the price. It's tradable like anything else. I think creators are going to have more and more chances to really own their work and earn royalties. So for example, when that NFT, that musician has an NFT that they put out there, somebody buys it, and that person that bought it sells it to somebody else, there's a thing in the smart contract with a royalty that you can have a certain percentage. Usually it's anywhere from 1 to 10%. So 10% of that sale, you can actually go back to that original minter, that artist who actually created that NFT. So just picture that replicated across a bunch of different industries. I think for the podcast is a great example too. If like you turn the Radcast into a gated podcast where you have to own one of our Radcast NFTs to actually listen to our podcast. And if you have great guests on the show and people are like, oh, Ryan just had whoever on the show that talked about this, then the value of their NFT will go up. So it's another way that you can have access and exclusivity. And then the big thing too is with the wallets, like your wallet is pretty much going to be your Instagram or your Twitter. It's going to show like what you own. I'm going to say that maybe I'll have an NFT in my wallet that showed I went to a Post Malone concert. Then it shows I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and it shows I went to Florida on vacation, stayed at this hotel. Now everybody can go see in your wallet. Okay, cool. Kosta's into this stuff. He really likes Post Malone as an artist. I like Post Malone too. So it's another form of social media.
Yeah, interesting. The tokenization that the Radcast has crossed my mind. I mean, I expect at least to sell 10 tokens for having Lisa Loveland and Kosta Hantzis on the show right now. All right, at least, when Lynx Club NFT blows up the world, we're going to remind everyone where things really blew up here on the Radcast, right next to Grant Cardone. You guys are on your way. I love it. He is blowing up. But talk to me, it's interesting. The smart contracts part of this thing is really interesting, especially I'm going to go, Lisa, with you here with this one on real estate. I mean, damn, titling of houses is so freaking complicated. Why the hell can't we just make smart contracts to track all this shit?
Oh, my God. Yeah, we should. But try to get that past the government and the registry.
I know. But
it's a great idea.
Can we get to that point, though? Like, is that where,
Yeah, I think we can. And I think you're going to see a lot of that because it's actually a very simple contract that could be put together because, each stage in a real estate transaction is signed off on, and then the smart contract can kick into its next gear, and you don't have to have all this running around and, mailing of signatures and original signatures, all this stuff. It's an absolutely perfect example of where NFTs could really create some wonderful efficiencies.
I know. I'm hopeful that's where it's all headed. I think back to the utility. I think utility's a really strong key word with all this stuff. I mean, it's one thing, and everybody, I love art as much as anyone. Mona Lisa, I get it. I get a little Monet, whatever, but, that Bored Ape doesn't do a damn thing for me. But, I get it, the scarcity and the art part, but like we got to get to that utility, right? The utility factor is where this is going. And I think we've got to simplify it. Like, because right now there's so many buzzwords and so many layers to this thing. It's like, if you get outside of your own bubble, like, and I'll even throw myself in there, like people don't know what the hell this shit is. Like, it's just like They are confused by all the terminology and the stuff. I think they want to engage, but I think it's just, it's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, NFTs are a piece of technology. They're not a gorilla or a monkey or stuff like that. That's just one use case for that. So I think as soon as we get away from that whole idea of Bored Apes going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's just essentially, they're doing great things. Regardless of that too, it is like a flex. It's saying, oh, I own a Bored Ape, just like you're flexing that you own a Rolex, whatever that may be, your car. As soon as we get away from that whole idea that anything can be an NFT, your any proof of ownership or proof of authenticity can be an NFT. So then we can see that if you claim that, an interesting then thing that we're talking about is like courses, for example, or education. Like usually when you talk about taking a course at a college or a course online, they'll usually spit out a PDF or something like that too. But what if we can now use an NFT as the technology through the blockchain or the digital ledger to actually show that you truly did do what you said there. You truly do own whatever digital asset you're talking about. The blockchain, the consumer blockchain especially, is really going to take over, where there'll always be people that are still faking it too, but it'll be a lot harder to fake when you can actually say, okay, cool, show me the blockchain address that you actually do own that piece of digital assets. A lot of people are going to be scared and not wanting to do that.
Kosta, are you saying that these people that I see with the fake Louis Vuitton handbags, they're not going to be able to get a fake Louis in the metaverse? Is that what I just heard you say?
What you heard, they might be able to,
unless they're buying the fake Louis.
They can buy the fake Louis,
and
Louis
it'll
Vuitton
show as fake.
That's a big thing too with like the scams. Like there's a ton of scams with like the Bored Apes and the stuff like that too, where people are like, oh, I got scammed and stuff like that. It's like, well, you didn't really get scammed. You actually just didn't actually buy a Bored Ape because you didn't click the legitimate link. You got to do your research too. So anybody can come along and create a identical Bored Ape NFT or an identical Louis bag NFT, but if it's not tied to Louis Vuitton's actual smart contract address from their website, then that thing's not real. So they'll always find ways.
I got a damn ADD ape. I got the sleepy ape, but not the Bored Ape. Oh shit! Like,
that's happened so many times. It's funny.
Oh man, let's talk a little bit more about Lynx Club. So, talk to me about who is the perfect audience for this. Like, I know it's the creators and all that, but I want to dig into a little bit more of the target. What, like, do we have firm costs for what it's going to cost to get in? I know there's going to be mastermind type material and things and all that, but talk a little bit more about that target and a little bit more about, maybe cost of entry.
Sure. So our NFTs, we actually decided on a final mint price yet, but look for anywhere between $350 to $500 USD. And then of course that converted into whatever it is in Ethereum at that time too. So our target, and then in terms of our target audience, again, artists, creators, entrepreneurs, overall people that want success in their relative fields, whatever success is to them, and wants to be in an environment with other people that are essentially doing cool things and want to improve themselves. The example I like to give is you go to a Tony Robbins seminar too. You're probably not going to become best friends with Tony Robbins, but everybody sitting next to you in those seats are all in probably a similar place that you are. They might not be in the same industry, but they're going there to better themselves. So we really want to foster the sense of collaboration and not only creating a community of people that are all interested in the same thing too, but actually providing them utility, the value by bringing speakers and really listening to what the community wants. Having the workshops, LynxCon is a huge thing too. Me and Lisa are both from Boston, as we talked about earlier, and Boston has a great tech presence, has a lot of great schools, but nobody's came into Boston and said, hey, here's Boston's flagship NFT Web3 conference, and we're looking to do just that. There's been NFT NYC, Miami, LA, wherever it is, Colorado even too, but Boston has a lot of potential. So with LynxCon, what it's called is to come to that conference. If you own a Lynx Club NFT, you actually get access to that conference. We'll also be selling public tickets as well, but the NFT will give you admission into that conference. We're partnering with a really big entertainment agency. We actually haven't finalized the details yet, so can't really drop that yet too, but it's a really big entertainment agency in Boston that we're just so fired up. It's been the whole entire process of the NFTs of containing, not saying stuff about the project because we haven't released it yet.
I've heard there might be some good speakers at that thing.
Wonder if you're going to be one of them.
Yeah, yours truly.
I think I already told you who the entertainment company was too. So I shouldn't have. But so don't say anything.
I'm not going to say anything. But yours truly might just be making a drop in. So, cool. Might be. I got a few speaking engagements here coming up towards the end of the year, so I'm honored and pleased to be a part of that. I think it's cool. Do you see Lynx Club as kind of being like the umbrella brand, and then like if you get these different, whether it's entrepreneurs or creators or artists, you see they're almost being like, I don't know, subsegments underneath that as the umbrella, or is it all one?
No, that's so perfect. That's exactly right. You nailed it. Yeah. So we have to have the umbrella. If we're true to our mission, right? We want to bring everybody in, but then it's not our agenda past that point. So the break-offs will come after we have these conversations, and it will be something like, how amazing would this be? I would have loved this in my career, that somebody cared enough to put this all together, like this digital collaborative playground, and actually ask me, who do you want to meet? Right? So you come to, who do you want to meet? And we'll go find them. If it's not that exact person, we'll find somebody that is doing what that exact person is doing that could be beneficial to the person in our community.
You guys might be beating LinkedIn to the club, I know you're thinking about it a little differently than just that, but that professional aspect and the utility, I keep coming back to that word, that's kind of rung true with me. The utility of being involved in these groups and these clubs, and the additive nature of them. I think the social networks are trying to do that, and you're certainly getting knowledge. You've got inputs and outputs of knowledge and information, but it kind of stops at that. It doesn't seem to transcend the knowledge input output. And this feels like the next evolution.
100%. We have a lot of conversations about LinkedIn too. People have brought that up about the similarities too. And it's like, we have a lot of big plans for Lynx Club, as we've talked about here too. But as you're an entrepreneur yourself, you get it that we have to execute on the ground level things first. Do what we're going to say to do. Like, sure, we can have that long-term vision, which we do. We want to build a brand, but to get to that level, we can't just jump from here to there. We have to execute on the workshops, the speakers. We're working on with our developers right now on some sort of platform, which would be more of the longer term thing for the project. But there are a lot of things, especially with LinkedIn, and a lot of similarities that I don't know if LinkedIn's working on some sort of technology with NFTs. They should be. I'll throw like a brief example out there too. And it's like when you go on LinkedIn and you see your profile, you got a bunch of experiences on LinkedIn. It shows I took this course, I went to this college, I went to here and participated in whatever it may be. But there's no actual proof to say that you did what you did. There's maybe if a job interviewer comes, is like, okay, let me see, like, I'm going to call your references too. But for the most part, there's not any sort of validation. So I won't get into too much detail about that idea, but the blockchain is a way to kind of prove that you actually authentically took that course. So for example, with a workshop within Lynx Club, we're working on developing where if you attend one of our workshops, let's say, it's funny to use the LinkedIn example because we're talking about a LinkedIn workshop, but say we did a workshop on digital marketing and we brought in you, Ryan, to teach a course. At the end of it, when you took that and you attended that workshop, we could actually have you mint an NFT to say that you took the Lynx Club NFT workshop with Ryan Alford, and here's your NFT to prove it. So you can go put that on LinkedIn, you go put it anywhere else. People can look in your wallet and be like, okay, yeah, you actually did take that. So now I actually know you're not full of it, for lack of better words.
I like that. I like proof in the pudding, and like having like the record of those things. I think it's good for everybody, that transparency. I mean, it's not just, anyone that kind of fights that isn't real, Like,
there you go.
So I don't know. Is it real? Recognize it's real, but damn, I like to trust, but I love to validate.
I do too. I always say, what do I say, Kosta? I'm all about the truth. I'm a truth seeker. Once I find the truth, I can deal with whatever that truth is, but I want to know what the real deal is.
Yeah. There's always something kind of hiding behind there. It's interesting. So you guys, all the channels, I mean, so building a Discord community, I imagine, how's all that going as far as kind of community building, getting the words out there, and, what are kind of your approaches as far as marketing so far?
Yeah, we're about to, especially with our new partner right now, we actually haven't publicly announced this either yet, but our new partner who's going to be helping out with our growth and marketing, who has had success in the space before, is really going to, we like to say that our true marketing is really going to pick up this week, next week, and the weeks to come, of really, really pushing out what we're doing, because it takes time to build. It takes time to work out the kinks, team stuff, making sure everything's in synergistically working together. And community buildings is a very overused buzzword, but it's one of the most important things in NFTs. And the example we like to give and talk about is like, you got to picture your Discord as a party. Say you're hosting a party, and it's like you invite a bunch of people to the party. They come to there. Say it's a new person at that party. You have to be like, greet them at the door, be like, hey, welcome to Lynx Club, for example, or whatever. It's a party. Here's go check out this place. This is where you can do this. This is where you can do that. Like, so happy you came here too. It's like, oh, by the way, like you're into music, right? Because I see in your profile it's music. Oh, we actually have a music section here, and this person over there is into music as well. Maybe you should meet them. So it's like you're doing that for every new member, building that true sense of like you're there for that person, but you want to get to a point where that new person that came to in the Discord is actually having their own conversation. So then you can actually go to the new member and do the same thing, introduce them. Hey, thanks for coming. Here's what you can do here. Here's what this, let me know if you have any questions. And then you can't forget to periodically check into the people that are already at the party. You have to say, hey, you guys have everything you need. So the event/party is a great example to describe like how you should really treat your community and making sure people are having a good time and people actually want to stay at your party, but they have to understand the party, not just everybody's standing in quarters talking to themselves. You really have to foster that and curate really cool dialogue between members.
I think that's an interesting way to talk about it, because like I feel like the biggest thing, the disconnect for brands and companies that don't kind of do well in that community building, they're lacking like the master of ceremonies, the MC. Because like when you think about a party, and you use it as a great example, Kosta, I'd never really crystallized it till you just talked about it. But it's having that MC. The MC of the party doesn't just play the music. They say, oh, there's Barbara who should get to know Jill, and they connect them. They say, oh, Jim, who likes, the Beatles, needs to talk to Roger, who knows the Eagles or whatever. Dating myself a little bit here with my musical references. But I think you get it. But it's like, who's the MC? Who's bringing that all together? And I think that's the key to building community, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Because then you're because if the community needs us so much, that isn't the right balance, right? But we need to be the MCs, and our mods and our community managers need to be the MCs, and then that cross talk and vibe needs to happen. So now the community is doing that on their own because we've showed them what to do. We've made the connections. People can be shy or nervous or awkward, and not really understand how to use Discord. So getting them all together, and then they start on their own, frees Kosta and I up to go and continue to add value to the community.
Totally.
I love it. Well, as we're winding down here, any kind of final thoughts? How can everybody kind of keep up with everything you guys are doing, get involved with Lynx Club, NFT, etc.?
Yeah, we're working on our final V2 website. We have a temporary website up right now, and the URL is lynxclubnft.com. It has some videos there as well as a bunch of pictures to our links. So, for example, our Discord, definitely join our Discord. There's a link on our website. Follow us on Twitter. It's just at Lynx Club NFT. Again, all links will be on our website. That's a great place to start, and we'll keep pushing out more information on both of those channels. And then as we grow, we'll keep expanding into different mediums, whether that's different channels in Discord, different platforms. But for right now, during this building phase, as we like to call it, definitely Discord is the main kind of party, as per se, is where everything is really going to be happening right now. And Twitter is that initial billboard per se, where you can find out a little bit about the party, learn more about the different tweets, get a feel. And then if you actually want to enter the party, come and join our Discord.
And we should have people, if they've heard about us through your podcast, we should say, have them announce that when they come into Discord.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah.
Perfect. So mention the Radcast.
They can say, we love Ryan.
Yes. Say, we love Ryan. So I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you guys and being involved in the event towards the end of the year.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. And so Lisa, Kosta, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Hey guys, you know where to find us, theradcast.com. Search for Lynx Club. You'll find all of the highlights from today's episode. You know where I'm at Ryan Alford. I'm verified on all the platforms. Hit me up on TikTok. I'm going crazy over there. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.